Yeah, man. White people have been the greatest threat to Mother Earth, themselves, and their own brothers and sisters, the human family, the God family that we are. White people have been the greatest threat to us. So what in the world? This is why we have been, you know, so duped into this backwardness, and this is why this has been the ultimate backwardness. You know, and another thing to understand is what's crazy is, it's like Michael Tsarion said. The more and more people know, it's like people want to know more and more about less and less until they know a lot about nothing. You know what I'm saying? And all white folk don't hunt. So how can they have such sports? And they got hunting carry around rifles on their back. Now, how many black people carry around rifles on their back and that shit be all cool and we not be called thugs or we not be a threat to society or some shit? You know what I'm saying? That's just the question. And it's crazy that, as I was talking about earlier, another backwardness that black people have been totally reversed into not being able to even address their issues, because we've let white people convince us that racism happens in conversation, in a conversation. So therefore black people have been totally um, paralyzed, spiritually and mentally paralyzed with their issues, because we have been, you know we have been prohibited from addressing our issues, because and we were backwarded into this whole thing by letting someone convince us that we can be racist. A black person can never be racist. A black person in America can only react to racism. Racism is ultimately a power complex. It's ultimately a power complex that is bent on, you know giving and taking opportunity based on, what they consider a threat or not. Basically, that's what you would have to define it as. That's what you would have to define it as. And because, and I say that, white people and black people, especially black people, stop letting these motherfuckers try to tell you that, that they've even seen black white people have never seen or experienced racism. Somebody calling you cracker, or somebody, fucking, kicking your ass one day, one time in your life. That is not fucking racism, bro. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have never experienced racism. And on another level, just another truth, name one time in America that black people have lashed out and done anything to anybody. You know what I'm saying? These are backwardnesses and these are myths. You know what I'm saying? Like, name one time that black people have lashed out and done anything to any group of people in America. The Indians, Asians, anybody. We only are killing each other. We only are killing each other. We're self-destructing. Mainly off of this King Leopold, Willie Lynch, complex thing. You know, this Mandingo fight thing. This whole misappropriated energy thing. You know, in so many things. Given, just linking back to religion right quick. Just given that whole, that we're losing based off of, and we've lost justice. We've lost the possibility of justice based on this morality complex that we have, that we've been given. This morality complex. You know, the the simple fact that in our Bibles, it has, Christ looking like this sucker that'll never do nothing to nobody type shit. You know what I'm saying? It has old forgiveness, turn the other cheek. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't really understand the science that really went into this, you won't understand the real reason why I'm saying that you were totally denied justice, based on this morality complex that you've accepted, you know, in your whole perception of who is the devil, what is the devil, whatever, you know. And I say that because, the whole forgiveness thing, You know, how many times do you have shit? How many ask for forgiveness when you at a damn red light? How many times you gonna get? How many Christians? You know, how many of your police officers are Christians? You know, how many judges are Christian or some shit? You know what I'm saying? You know, where's the forgiveness when you run a red light? Where's the forgiveness when you do? You know what I'm saying? When you break the so-called law? You know, just think about the word, the law. You know, that's another backwardness, because people don't even think about that. The word law. You know, every time a law is basically something that you can't do. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this land has so many laws. A law is basically a prohibition on some type of activity. You know, some type of prohibiting or some type of activity or some type of stipulation on an activity. You know, so every time you look at a law, you're looking at something that you can't do, or you're looking at a prohibition, you know, or a restriction of some sort, you know, or a boundary of some sort, you know. Every time you look at a law, you know, and the backwardness, man, just continues, you know, for people to say, you know, charge people with, you know, being militant or things of this nature. You know, to be militant is just to be mentally disciplined, you know. And the simple fact that today that people don't ask, you know, what's right or wrong, true or false, you know, is this real or not, you know, but rather, you know, we want to know, you know, we rather know how popular it is, you know, and how much money can we get off it, you know, rather than is this right or wrong, you know, is this true or false, is it real or not, you know. All of these things, you know, are the backwardness. You know, the simple fact that black people have an intellectual disconnect and an emotional attachment and an emotional bondage to white people. You know, to Europeans. You know, this simple fact. You know, the simple fact that, you know, as I said, we have this intellectual disconnect, and this emotional attachment, this emotional bondage to white people. You know, it's just like Dr. Claude Anderson said, you know, and all of this is based on slavery, just as I was saying, because in slavery, this was a process where we were, you know, through hundreds and hundreds of years, we were taught to hate our own, and we were taught to, you know, to discredit our own, you know, and love theirs. You know, we were taught to sell our children. We were taught to sell our children and take care of white kids, you know, and cook for white children. You know what I'm saying? So all this translates to what we're seeing today. All this translates to what we're seeing today. You know, things like, you know, the backwardness like how all the way through the media, you know, this goes back to the media, how they've always made Africa look poor. You know, they always make Africa look poor on TV. You know, and so many of those little ads where they're all, you know, give 70 cents a day, 30 cents a day, whatever. You know, they're in Africa in a lot of those places. On Discovery Channel, whenever they show Africa, they just show, you know, the poor looking places or whatever. Always depicting Africa as this poor country, but really in reality, Africa is the richest country on the continent, is the richest planet, is the richest continent in the world, richest continent in the world, mineral wise, through all resources, you know, and always has been. From its spiritual endeavors all the way to the treasures of the land. You know, Africa is the richest continent on the planet. But on TV, they try to depict it as something, as a poor place, you know, and all this is so we won't be motivated to go back home, or we won't even care about our Africanness, you know, we won't even think about, you know, and it's so ironic that they would show Africa being, you know, poor and all these things. As in right now, you have programs like Africom, and they're in Africa right now. You know, you got movies like The Blood Diamond. You know, you got movies like The Mummy. You know, where the white man always going to Egypt. Egypt is in Africa. You know, Egypt is in Africa, Northeast Africa to be exact, if I'm not mistaken. You know, and you know, they show it in all these movies where the white man going to Egypt, to Africa, stealing all of these things. You know, just in ancient times, basically. You know, the Indiana Jones, as I was saying. You know, the Tomb Raiders. You know, the National Treasures. All these movies, and they're going to black places, stealing our shit, but they're depicted on TV as something that, you know, is a poor place and shit like that, because they don't want us to go back home. And they don't even want us to think about that. You know, they want us to be totally, you know, they want you to totally be sold into that American dream, you know. And just like George Carlin said, man, that's why they call it the American dream. Because you got to be asleep to believe that shit. You know what I'm saying? And a keynote is to understand that, damn it, a superior people is a leader people. A superior people is a leader people. A superior people is a leader people. You know, a superior people is not a people who run around conspiring against others, holding others down, making covert ways to always stay ahead of the next man, or whatever kind of competitive, whatever kind of shit that that this fucking system has going on. And to sit here and, you know, even try to convince yourself that anyone is inferior to anyone, you know, and to convince yourself that you're superior. Understand that a superior people leads by example, and ultimately, a superior people is a leader people. A superior people is an educator people. A superior people is a loving people, a people that take other people higher. It's the bottom line, man. It's the bottom line. You know? And it's so crazy. You know, it's so crazy, man. And it's all about misappropriated energy, man. Misappropriated energy. What you see out in the streets is a bunch of misappropriated energy. Men killing each other because they have not found respect in society. You know, they have not seen or found respect in society. You know, so they end up misappropriating this energy to, when they don't get respect from, when they don't feel respect from one another, now they killing each other. But shit, they don't feel, you know, they don't see no respect from no police officer, from no business, from nobody in the world. Nobody in the world wanting to hear what they have to say anyway. So why not just kill everybody else? What is it about the brother that you feel is so disrespectful to you that no one else is doing? You know what I'm saying? These types of things, you know, and in that same manner, that brother doesn't get that respect, and he's out here, you know, bugging for that respect in the streets, and he's, you know, doing all this bullshit and killing, whatever, you know, it's the same way that a parent may not, you know, a parent may not be able to, you know, say what she want to say to her supervisor at her job. Supervisor getting on her nerves at her job, but she can't say that because she's in fear of losing her job, you know. So, you know, when she goes home and when she gets off, you know, when she goes home, she's stressed and shit. You know, it's like the first thing that her children do, the first thing that her kids do, she's flying off the motherfucking handle. You know what I'm saying?